67% of people agree that cannabis helps get them in the mood for sex. And 64% say using cannabis makes them more likely to want to have sex. This week on Staying Positive, cannabis as an aphrodisiac. Hey guys, it's your girl Blazy Blue, and we're gonna talk about sex and cannabis, and them separately and them together, and just talk about what that might be like, or just maybe I'm gonna open up yourself to a conversation you've never really thought about. Personally, I felt like I've known cannabis to always be, Coco just cut my damn light. So as I was saying, I feel like cannabis has kind of always been an aphrodisiac for me, at least. It was a good while into me smoking that I really started to get to experience pleasure and cannabis at the same time, if that makes sense. So one thing we all know as being people who medicate with cannabis is that people medicate for an array of reasons. Physical health, mental health. Some people just do it to sleep. Some people just do it kind of like coffee, where you're just giving yourself a little boost. But I feel like when we're thinking about cannabis and sex, that's something a lot of people understand, but it's not a lot of thing that people discuss. So that's why I want to talk about it. And then also, of course, Valentine's Day is coming up. So I felt like this was like the perfect topic to go into. So going back to those first two facts I stated at the beginning of the video, the first one saying that 67% of people said using cannabis helps get them in the mood. I would say for sure. I'm sure this isn't just a personal feeling, but that I would say the only clause with that is only with people you already had, you might have showed an interest, you might have an inner interest or whatever, In that case, it's like giving you maybe a confidence booster, or maybe it's just taking off like that. Sex in general can just be awkward. No matter how old we get, it's just when you get a new partner, or even sometimes if you've had the same partner for a long time and then you need to switch it up, but you don't know how to. Sex is just always this very awkward thing at first until you get used to people, things like that. I feel like a big reason why sex can be awkward is that you're attracted to the person and they're attracted to you, but sometimes it can be hard for one of you to see what the other finds so sexy, or just overall I guess I should say enticing about a person. Yeah, let's go with enticing. So I feel like one thing that cannabis really does is it's just you're not thinking about that. Instead, you're just being yourself, and then you're just okay, this is cool, it's gonna be fine. And then sometimes you don't even end up having sex and it still ends up being a really good and pleasurable time. And other times you do, and sometimes it can't always be the best experience, And I also feel like everybody can agree that using cannabis makes them more likely to want to have sex, because it's just something about just smoking, especially when you're first getting into it. I feel like the first couple of times, if you're by yourself, you can just get yourself excited about nothing. But it's you get that very aphrodisiac effect from cannabis. And then sometimes when you're using it for that specific purpose, it can be absolutely mind-blowing and take a 7 to a 10. Or sometimes it can help you to get where you're trying to be, if you know what I'm saying. A lot of the websites I looked at was talking about how men have something to help them when they have erectile dysfunctions, which is true. They have multiple items on the market that could help them out with that. But for women, we literally have nothing. But truly for women, I feel for those of us who do already partake in cannabis, that is a big answer, because I don't know. I feel like cannabis could literally be the version of Viagra for men, but for women. So I couldn't really find any strains that I felt was universally thought of as good strains for sex, because overall most of the articles were talking about how cannabis is just an aphrodisiac in itself, so you don't really need to dive deeper into that. It's even when you touch the surface, you could reach new heights and not really in that sense. You could just reach new experiences that you never had before. So instead, I did find 4 terpenes that were listed as the best for sex. And we're gonna start with beta-caryophyllene. Beta-caryophyllene is found in sage and rosemary. And as far as what it smells like, it's gonna be that terpene that gives strains that more like peppery taste and smell. Currently, what I have is very high in beta-caryophyllene is the Motor Breath from Muse, because every time that I hit that, it's like a nice little body high. Like, I feel very relaxed. Depending on when I smoke it, I can induce drowsiness, but for the most part, it's just like my body feels very relaxed, very calm. I'm not really thinking too much in the head. It's more just like silence. It has been found to depress your central nervous system and therefore reduce anxiety and excitement. Maybe that explains why I said that my body feels that way. Just the next time you smoke, just pay attention to the terpenes and notice when they're high in certain ones, how overall that can change like the experience for you. Not so much like how high you get. I'm talking about really like the medicinal effects that it has to your body. And when you think of that citry scent, it also can be found in your favorite cleaning products. It also improves absorption of other chemicals and terpenes through the skin, which makes it great for topicals and ointments. Which means if you're relating it back to cannabis and sex, then that might be I should say those fantastic people, because I'm definitely not this creative yet. But for those who like to make your own products, maybe you should think about making a topical with the strain that is super high in limonene and see how that can affect its effect as a topical. It also could be used for a tincture, which is super good because, as you guys know or may not know, you can just put those directly under your tongue for I think it's 30 to 60 seconds, and your body is absorbing it as easy and fast as it could. Next up is limonene. It smells like lemons, oranges, mandarins, limes, and grapefruits. As far as the effects that I would say the limonene has, it's gonna be that mood booster. So for people who typically come in and they're asking for something more to smoke on the beginning side of the day, or maybe something to smoke in the evening to perk themselves up just when they need an extra energy boost, I am always searching for something super high in limonene, because that's what's gonna actually give them that really euphoric and happy feeling. Next is linalool, which is found in flowers and spices like lavender and coriander. This is a fact. I'm gonna have to just read this straight from the screen because it is very important, and I feel like I shout this from the mountains, but still not a lot of people know this. For those of you who enjoy smoking but often say every single time you smoke you're always experiencing a lot of anxiety, please listen to this next sentence. Linalool terpenes balances out anxious side effects of THC, making it useful treatments of both anxiety and psychosis. Amazing, isn't it? More importantly, I'm gonna put the computer back to the side. You can mix dried lavender with your weed. I definitely had a phase where I was doing it before. I kind of have stopped recently. I would say in the last couple of months, just because I felt like it wasn't needed in my medication routine anymore. But if I ever felt like I got a batch of something that made me anxious, I probably would still add it. Just adding lavender to weed makes all the difference in just having the smallest level of anxiety. Some studies also show that linalool can reduce lung inflammation and boost your immune system. And last but not least is pinene, which by the sound of it, I'm sure you guys can guess, is the most common terpene in the entire world. It can be found in orange peels, pine needles, basil, and parsley. One of the craziest things about pinene is it's known to counter short-term memory loss from THC. So definitely something to remember when you're medicating. In addition to that, it can also improve lung airflow and improve alertness. So while I can't really direct you in the direction with some strains, I can give you some terpenes to start off with. When you're going to shop for something maybe for you in the +1 for Valentine's Day, you definitely want to be checking for these terps. Think about the effects that I told you, how I feel. Maybe ask your bud tender about what they think about these terpenes and the feelings. I can definitely see, even just thinking about the list of the 4 of them, why they work. The only one that kind of surprised me is alpha pinene, but also it's the most common terpene in the world. So I'm of course that would be in the mix. Now, the last section I want to get into before we break ways until next week is products curated for sex. with cannabis in them. And I'm definitely gonna start off with those Smash and Passion Betty's Eddies, because I did my training at work and I was like, oh, that's what's up. I gotta grab the laptop one more time, just because it really is that serious. Not only does these Betty's Smash and Passion Eddies have THC, aka cannabis, in them, but they also have horny goat weed, marijuana, damiana, and macaru. Hello, one aphrodisiac with another 4. So you can only imagine. And the crazy part is, a lot of people buy that product just as a normal edible. I'm here to tell you guys that that product is literally made for you to be smashing with passion, okay? And then Bits also has their acai affection, which has rose hips, and then it also includes hybrid cannabis. So that's another product that they actually sell at my job. Between the two, maybe even both, depending on how I'm feeling. For next week, I'm going to be doing a review, seeing on how I felt after taking them. Did I feel like even more, I don't know, just more playful than I usually do. The other product that I have never seen like actually in person, but I do know exists, Kamina also sells an Excite Wild Cherry pack of edibles, and those are also said to have been made to be curated for sex. So more than anything, I hope you guys are definitely like opening your eyes more a little bit to sex this year. Maybe think about going to pick up an edible or find a specific strain to have just to make Valentine's Day. Maybe somebody out there needs that like extra, the new spark in the relationship. Because I know for me, I definitely have no problem like literally in the breaks, you know how people be taking breaks during sex. Yeah, in the breaks during sex, I would literally just sit there and start smoking or eat an edible or something, you know what I'm saying? Maybe think about starting to do that to see if that helps with like what you're trying to accomplish, what your partner's trying to accomplish, what you both are trying to accomplish together. You know what I'm saying? Well, this has been fun and exciting and super, super amazing as always. But now I have to go, and I will see you guys next week, where I will be doing a review on one of the 2 products, if not both. I'm excited to do that. I already talked to my boyfriend and was like, hey, I'm getting these products. They're like curated for, you know, sex, blah, 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 blah. And he just had a big smile on his face. So I'm sure he's excited. Stay positive and keep it blazy, because this has been your girl, Blazy Blue, and I will see you next Sunday for a new episode of Staying Positive.